While I'm quite confident I do not deserve the honor of being here to speak to you, I am nonetheless deeply grateful for the opportunity. And while I'm passing out all these thank yous, let me get to the most important one of all, and that's to the class of 2017. Thank you, Coastal Carolina, class of 2017. Thank you and congratulations. You've made it. So, students, stand up. You need a break anyway already. Parents, attendees, stand up. Join with me as they give themselves perhaps one more standing ovation. Depending on how long this ceremony lasts, you will thank me later for that break. I know how hard each of you have worked to get to this big day, and at times I'm sure you wondered if this day would ever come. Each of you here is a unique human being. You've got and have faced unique challenges and different battles. And you were inspired by different mentors along the way. And you drew from different experiences along the path that led you to this landmark event. To be here today means many things. It means you've shown discipline and perseverance. You've demonstrated both intellectual curiosity and a drive to succeed. And it also means you've been blessed by all the people who care about you, your family and friends and teachers. All of which means this is indeed a time to be proud of what you've done. But, as you heard a moment ago, it's also a time to be grateful for the support of those who love you. Being here today brings back a flood of memories for me. I remember facing one of the big obstacles in my political career, and trust me, there have been a few. And if you're doing it the right way as well, there'll be many ahead for you too. That memory involves this great university, which today becomes your alma mater. It was 1992. I had just been elected to the South Carolina State Senate. I was a little older than many of you here today, with the exception of a few, and God bless you for coming with the gray hair and the later year accomplishment. But I showed up in Columbia at the State House, wide-eyed and full of optimism. I was ready to change the world. One of the first things I wanted to do was to help an institution of higher learning that used to be called the University of South Carolina, Coastal Carolina College. I wanted to help it become its own independent university. Many of you know this, that USC Coastal, as it was called then, was established back in 1954, established as a satellite campus to the main mother campus in Columbia, University of South Carolina. But Coastal Carolina grew quickly, not just in the number of students who walked her halls and learned in her classrooms. The campus had also flourished as an academic hub, and quickly became an integral part to the community in which we sit today, as well as our economy. In other words, the campus had outgrown its role as a satellite of USC. It needed to strike out on its own, to evolve, and to realize its full potential. And I quickly learned that change is hard. It's hard for everyone, but it's especially hard, as you know, with government. Now, a team of lobbyists, the USC heavyweights, and defenders of the status quo fought the change. And I mean, they really worked hard. Those with gray hair behind me know the struggle and the fight that was put up. Now, there are 170 legislators in the State House, 124 House members, 46 senators. And my one vote of independence in support of that effort wasn't a drop in the bucket, or, given where we are, a drop in the ocean. So what do? We fought back, and we fought back harder. Now, a whole lot of us who wanted to see independence for USC Coastal Carolina came together. We leveraged the power of our collective voice. We offered a new vision for the school, and we made our case to the state, to the elected officials, to the media, and to anyone who would listen. Now, we all know how the story ends. The diploma that you read today does not bear the name University of South Carolina, Coastal Carolina College. The rest of the story is, we won. In 1993, legislation to grant this school its independence passed the South Carolina General Assembly. Governor Carroll Campbell, the late governor, ended up signing the bill into law right here on this campus. And I have proudly hanging from my office wall a picture of that bill signing ceremony. Now, that bill signing was a lot like a commencement ceremony. It meant Coastal Carolina College, then soon Coastal Carolina University, had graduated from a long series of tests, trials, and obstacles. And the time had come to launch a new phase in the life of this university. It was a time for it to begin striving to achieve its full potential. Very much like all of you here today. That's the definition of the word commencement. It's a beginning, which also means it marks the closing of something else. On this day, you leave one era in your life to begin another. But you should never put your past or your time here on this campus behind you. Remember what you've learned. Remember all the things you did right and what you did wrong too. Remember and know both. And that which you did wrong, the mistakes you made, know that those are powerful teachers. Mistakes we all make. Now, I'm sure there were those nights that you chose a party or a date when you know you needed to study for that test or finish writing that paper or finish that project. And there may have been many nights where you chose to study instead of the lighter things. I'm just guessing, but if you all didn't make the right decisions at least a few times, you wouldn't be in the seats that you occupy here today. Now, I'm not going to stand here and tell you, focus only on the future, that none of the past matters now, because it does matter. All of these experiences, both the good and the bad, matter a lot. They are the markers on the path that you have taken thus far. And if you learn from these experiences, they'll help you reach where you want to go. Again, I'm guessing many of you have already figured that out. It's said that good things happen in our lives, all the victories are the sources of joy, and that those things are to be savored and to be celebrated. And I can agree with that. But I can also tell you, from my experience both in the world of politics and the world of law, that while you celebrate your wins and your victories and your successes, you learn more from your losses. Those hard lessons oftentimes linger, and they linger sometimes for life. The choice is whether you grow from them. Now, one of the big losses in my life had nothing to do with politics or law. It involved the loss of my father, who 3.5 years ago left us. He lived a full and well-lived life. His name was Ogden Allsbrook Rankin. Many folks where he came from didn't know how to say, let alone spell, Ogden, org, og. And oftentimes he would say you needed a stiff drink and 2 deep inhalations to pronounce his name. With a name like that, obviously, there's no question you'll end up with a nickname. So beginning in high school and college, His friends noticed just what sort of guy he was. He never quit, he never gave up, and was quite stubborn. So they nicknamed him Rock. And that name stuck with him throughout his life. And one of the greatest blessings in my life was to have him to teach and guide me. And if there's one thing I'd like to leave with you all today, it's the mantra that my father, Rock Rankin, learned in college and would later teach me and would later teach his grandchildren. Now, I wished I'd listened more and talked less during my time with him. But I managed to have this lesson stick with me. And it's expressed in 3 simple words: observe, record, correlate. Observe, record, and correlate. Now, at first, it sounds like a method scientists use in their experiments. But as the years have gone by, and the more I observe, I've learned that my father's 3-word mantra is really a profound philosophy of life. Number 1, observe. Pay attention to the world as it unfolds around you. Take time to see, to learn about others. Learn their stories. And I don't mean just the gazillionaires or the folks on TV, the celebrities who pontificate about how you should live to have a successful life. Carefully observe the people who you interact with every day, from the highest to the most humble, paying particular attention to the latter. Now, there's a story that I came across a few years back about the CEO of Charles Schwab. Walt Bettinger is his name. And one of the biggest career lessons he ever learned. It was in a business strategy course during his senior year of college. He had maintained, like Rebecca and like a number of others that we've heard and will again celebrate later today, a perfect 4.0 average all the way through college. And he wanted to graduate with a perfect GPA. But it all came down to one final exam in that business course. He says that I'd spent many hours studying, preparing, memorizing formulas, all in preparation for this big final test. They walk in to the class. The teacher handed out the final exam, and it was on one piece of paper. Once everyone had their paper, he said, "Go ahead and turn it over." Both sides were blank. Next, the professor said, "I've taught you everything I can about business in the last 10 weeks, but the most important message, the most important question is this: what's the name of the lady who cleans this building?" He said it was the only test he ever failed, and he got the B that he deserved. Her name was Dottie. He said he didn't know Dottie. He'd seen her, but he'd never taken the time to ask her name. His lesson: I've tried to know every Dottie I've worked with ever since. That experience, he says, was a great reminder of what really matters in life, that you should never lose sight of people who do real work. So, observe. Get to know those people around you, their thoughts, their struggles, their fears, and their dreams. And get to know their name. Second, record. Observing doesn't mean much unless you record the results, right? So remember what your observations have taught you. What worked well for others? How can the mistakes you've made or those you've seen made by others be avoided? Make mental notes. And the really important stuff, write it down, put it in your laptop, put it somewhere where you can go back and reread those notes from time to time. All in an effort to never forget. And of course, the third essential step is correlate. Weave those experiences, lessons, and observations into your philosophy and the values you live by. Let it govern how you conduct yourself with your family, your friends, and those in your communities. And use that philosophy to forge your path through life to form the way you treat others. The Bible teaches about the golden rule, to do unto others as you would have them do unto you. If we follow that rule, the world is a better place, right? If we follow that rule, and if we all strive to help others and to have the hearts of servants, we live in a better place. In the Bible, Micah 6:8 offers this to sum up this philosophy: to do justly, love mercy, and walk humbly with thy God. And with that, I have said aplenty. I've said enough. Class of 2017, well done. Enjoy your day, cherish it, celebrate it. Then begin your tomorrow with hope, humility, and hard work. Set your goals and never, ever, ever give up. Congratulations, God bless to you, and Godspeed to you on your next chapter in life.